Bess and Nancy idly wander among the shops and boutiques of Tumbleweed until Dave picks them up. "Miss me?" he asks Nancy with a tilt of his cowboy hat. "We sure did," Bess interrupts. "Giddy up!" As they drive out of Tumbleweed, Dave asks, "So, are you girls going to the Cactus Square dance tomorrow night?" "Oh, I love square dancing," Bess squeals. "I'm a square, I can dance, it'll be perfect for me." Dave smiles. "I could fix you up with my friend Bud. He's a swell dancer." "And you, Dave?" Bess teases. "Are you a good dancer?" Dave lowers his eyes. "Not as good as Bud." "It's okay, Dave. Nobody is as good at dancing as Bud is. I'm sorry. Bud is like a dancing machine." "Oh, then you should go with Nancy," Bess encourages with a wink to her friend. Nancy is very successful with lost causes, especially the dancing types. "Would that be okay with you?" Dave asks Nancy sheepishly. "Sure, Dave," Nancy responds warmly. "I'd be happy to go with you to the dance. But we need to find a date for our friend George." "Oh, come on, George is a loser. Forget her. Come on. No, nobody likes her. Why does she have to keep holding us back?" Dave says. I mean, oh, poor George. Dave doesn't like her. No, wait. Okay, so George says, wait, now I'm confused. "No problem," Dave says excitedly. "I can always wrangle up another ranch hand." So, basically he's going to take his rope and lasso somebody and force that person to go to the dance with George. Right, good plan, Dave. So that evening, Bess and Nancy tell George all about their adventures. But then the chatter quickly turns towards the upcoming dance and their dates. "I hope Dave sets me up with his cuter older brother," George jokes. After dinner, Nancy asks permission to stay overnight at Mary's store. "I don't know," Aunt Bet says. "Young women shouldn't be staying out all night in some wild ghost chase. "Oh, they'll be fine," Uncle Ed sputters from the dining room table. "Mary's an honest person, and she won't let anything." But before he can finish, a piercing scream is heard in the kitchen. "What now?" he grumbles as everyone rushes to see what has happened. They find Shorty on top of a chair, screaming like mad. No, I don't want to be George's date for the dance," Shorty screams. "Anything but that!" Wow, I am just being so mean to George in this video. I'm sorry, George. I like you. I just don't know why I'm making fun of you so much. Oh well, there are crickets. Crickets, can you hear that? Oh, I had the sound turned off. Well, that explains why you couldn't hear those crickets. I hope you didn't miss out on any background music while the sound was off. Let's capture the crickets. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, that was 4. 3 left. Okay, there. Alright, we found all the hidden objects and we got a buckhorn chola collectible, whatever that is. "You saved me!" Shorty cries out, stepping off his perch. He runs out of the kitchen and soon comes back with a large potted cactus. Oh, it's a large potted cactus. "Here, take this. It's my lucky buckhorn chola." Nancy tries to refuse it. "What am I going to do with a cactus?" Nancy says, but he insists until she finally relents. "Not sure how I'm going to get this past airport security," Nancy whispers to Bess with gritted teeth. The next morning, the girls help out with chores, but their minds are distracted with thoughts of the square dance and sleeping over at Mary's store. George declines the offer to participate in the stakeout because her feelings were hurt and she was offended by all those hurtful comments I said earlier. I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry. That evening, the girls enjoy roast beef, corn on the cob, Indian fry bread, and caramel apple pie for dessert. From Sweet Apple Acres. Afterwards, they quickly shower and dress for the dance. The ranch hands try to convince Aunt Bet and Uncle Ed to go to the dance. We need another couple to make a foursome, Dave explains. Aunt Bet and Uncle Ed agree after much cajoling. As the group gets settled in the ranch van, Dave presses a carnation into Nancy's hand. That's for you, he says. Thank you, Dave, Nancy says, pinning it to her outfit. That was very thoughtful. When the four couples arrive in Tumbleweed, the town square is decorated with colorful paper lanterns hung above the dancing area. An old-time western band plays as a man in a big cowboy hat calls out the different dance moves. Let's do-si-do! Dave hollers as he grabs Nancy's arm and takes her to the dance area. Nancy quickly coaches Dave on the different steps, and by the end of the evening he shows himself to be a quick learner and a graceful dance partner. When the party starts to wind down, Nancy and Dave sit under an old cottonwood tree as they enjoy some refreshments. Look at all the stars, Nancy exclaims, watching the distant lights peek through the bare limbs. You don't get to see as many in River Heights. Dave puts his arm around Nancy. What else don't you have in River Heights? The two lock eyes for a moment, and Dave moves in closer, puckering his lips as he kisses Nancy and... Whoa! I'm sorry, Dave, Nancy apologizes, putting her hand up to his lips before he can get any fresh ideas. I have a boyfriend back home. Dave's eyes droop downwards. Well, ain't he the luckiest man alive? He replies, looking away. Nancy grabs his arm in a reassuring way. Oh, Dave, don't feel bad. I know you'll find someone special, just not as special as me. You mean someone like George? Dave says. I don't want to settle for George. Nancy, Bess calls from afar. Are you insulting George again? No, I'm breaking Dave's heart, Nancy calls. Okay, that's good, Bess says. Where are you anyway? It's time to go to Mary's. Dave quickly gets up and offers his hand to Nancy. I'll see you back at the ranch, he says, and he leaves. He's probably upset with all this impromptu commentary I'm making about the story. Here you are, Bess exclaims as she finds Nancy under the cottonwood. All set? George went back with the rallies. The two friends walk over to the courtyard co-op and they knock on the heavy wooden door. Soon the large door scrapes open and Mary quickly ushers them into the store. I hope you can catch the thief tonight, she tells Nancy, showing her the new mask. Its jeweled red eyes glint back in a weird and unsettling way. Guard this with your life, Nancy. It will be devastating for me and my people if it goes missing. You can count on us, Nancy assures the concerned woman. We've done this before, Bess adds. Relieved, the shopkeeper shows Nancy and Bess a small area behind the counter that was set up for the stakeout. I thought this would be the best spot since it's well hidden and gives you a good look at the mask. Did any of the other shopkeepers see the mask? Bess asks. Yes, Mary replies, all of them. Mrs. Katsui said she was inspired to make a costume for it. Miss Nank warned that it'll probably get stolen again. Mr. Delgado raved about its craftsmanship, and Miss Kell asked me if it was insured. Is it? Nancy inquires. No, we cannot put a monetary value on these objects, Mary replies. She invites the girls to her small apartment in the back and treats them to a late-night snack of fried sugary dough called sopapillas. We've mentioned them somewhere earlier in this story. I don't remember. Probably at the Mexican restaurant we visited in Chapter 2. No, hold on a second. I'm trying to scroll here. There we go. Okay, so there are only 2 more collectibles here in Chapter 5. Let's resume the story. As the girls settle down in their hiding place, Mary turns off the light and closes the door to her apartment. Soon the darkness gives way to a faint glow from a full moon high above in the sky. Should we both stay awake, or should we trade off who stays on guard so that the other can get some rest? Bess asks. What do? Trade off with Bess on who watches and who sleeps? Or should both Bess and Nancy stay awake?